Are you one of these people? Now, I've worked with you long enough, so I should know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask you the question almost in a rhetorical manner, just for those who might be new to the show. Are you one of these people who subscribes to the notion that while the rule book, whether it's the NFL, holding, whatever, pass interference, or college basketball, the rule book says this, but because we're at this point of the game, we don't call it?
I don't necessarily adhere to that, BT, but in this case, it just felt like it because there's so many bodies and they're big bodies. You know, this is different. It's not clear because the little kid, you know, gets hacked by the giant. You know what I mean?
Or because a quarterback's isolated against the receiver one-on-one. A lot of traffic is what you're saying.
Exactly. Incidental contact happens all the time.
Well, that wasn't incidental. That was Barrett saying, I'm going to push you in the small of the back, and I'm going to jump over you, I'm going to lay it in and get an offensive rebound because I just fouled you.
Yeah,
even though you boxed me out.
I hear you, but he probably would have been able to do it anyways. You know what I mean? Because he was taller than that kid. But it was a great end. And,
Tough one.
And the ending was what was most disappointing for UCF. Obviously, Zion Williamson had his late game heroics. I mean, he had a hell of a game as it was, 32 points and 11 rebounds. He was a monster for this game for Duke. And we always talk about, well, I think it's R.J. Barrett who's going to be the better pro. It's going to be, you know, Trey Jones because of his creation, and we need guards in the NBA. Zion Williamson, when he wants to turn it on,
oh God, yeah,
he's unbelievably.
Oh my God,
it's unreal.
Can I tell you something?
So all that nonsense about R.J. Barrett could go first. It's not happening.
No, that conversation's been over for a little bit, but for sure, as now we focus in on every single possession, every single second of every Duke game. We don't need to waste time on that. I think that, oh God, they're going to lament this really without being hyperbolic. They're going to lament this for the rest of their life. The one sequence, of course, the two missed tips at the end, that's just you may as well take the biggest dagger and stick it right in my basketball heart and just snuff me out and kill me. If I'm on UCF, that is just an abominable way to lose.
Look, there's no reason.
But you know what's worse?
There's no reason that doesn't go down, by the way.
Except that the Duke gods said, and by the way, as that happened, every CBS executive was like, yeah, here we go. Listen, by the way, and we have to also talk about the goaltend, non-goaltend. I still don't know what I believe because then they replayed that back 30 times. And they did a great job with the camera work in discussing that. But the play if I'm a UCF fan, the last sequence, the offensive foul, the tip in with Barrett, and the foul there as well. When you're up by 4 and you have a chance, you're going the other way, you have numbers, you go up top for an alley-oop. If you just catch that and flush that, you're up 6, a minute and 52 to go. Yeah, I don't think you're going to lose that game. You'll never know. But what we do know is that turned into a 5-point swing.
You're right.
Because the miss, the other way, 3-ball, boom.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That
would kill me.
But that's what happens to really good teams is that the breaks go their way. It seems like you give them a little crack.
That's a good point. That's fair.
An opportunity because Zion played great, but they didn't play completely, especially on the defensive side of the game. In this round of 32 matchup, but they're so good that if you leave the crack, you leave a tiny crack, that door's busting open. That's just how they are.
You know what,
because they're so clutch.
Are you speaking in terms of like the broad stroke of their program? Because I don't think they're that good. I think they're very vulnerable.
They are vulnerable.
They got 2 guys on the court all the time who can't shoot.
But BT, they are vulnerable. But we've seen them be vulnerable, but they always win these. Right? And they're young. So how can you explain that? So part of it is coaching. Part of it is you got to give a ton of credit to Coach K for identifying the kids who, yes, they're young, and yes, they're going to make some mistake. But when it comes to that moment, whenever that moment is, they're making the play.
Hey,
right? There's something to that.
Yeah, sure.
Right? It's coaching to an extent, but it's the kid also, and those are the type of kids that have always come to Duke, going all the way back.
And Johnny Dawkins, ironically, was really the first.
You're right.
That really got that Duke in the 80s, before Leitner, before all these, before Grant Hill, before Bobby Hurley, before everybody else that come after that. I mean, it was Johnny Dawkins that, we don't need to reset history here, but there was a thought that within the administration, they really was a movement to get rid of Mike Krzyzewski a couple of years into his tenure. They thought they had the wrong guy. And the AD said, no, we're sticking with him. I believe it is, his military, his West Point roots. I believe in his background. I believe in his vision, and it's worked out. And, we were talking about this before the show. Whether it's Johnny Dawkins, whether it's Wojo, whether it's Jeff Capel, whomever takes over for Coach K, good luck, buddy. Good luck filling in those shoes. I don't know how you even how do you even start.
As long as it doesn't become like what's plaguing UCLA.
Boy, it's funny. You talk about being victimized by your own success. The one difference, and I know you know this, but it's an interesting analogy, but I think it's really different in this sense. Like, there was a point where UCLA never lost.
Yeah.
All they did was year championship. Now, and Duke's lost a lot of big games over the years.
But they're always here.
True, but being here and being knocking on the door of the Elite Eight Final Four is different than winning. But
I think it's a little bit. The definition is different now of success.
Totally. Well, no doubt about it.
Of whatever I don't want to say it's a legacy or a dynasty, because it's not really the case. It's too random in college basketball. Like, any team, even the really good ones, can lose on any given night. So you can't really say it's a dynasty, but they're always there. Duke is always there.
Oh, they're amazing.
That's the definition of excellence now, whereas in the 60s and 70s, you had to win it.
You did.
Because you were playing a lot of inferior teams.
And your team was comprised of upperclassmen, obviously. And, if you stumbled upon a quote-unquote mid-major, which was very differently defined back then, they had seniors and juniors as well. But, the reason why it's completely flipped now is because now these young powers, they're 19-year-old kids who are getting ready to jump to the NBA. You get a team like Loyola who's got a couple of juniors on the team.
Yeah.
Or Gonzaga 20 years ago, and, all the teams that have kind of, or Butler a couple of years back, or whomever it might be that is positioned as a Wichita State or a mid-major. It's totally different. The template's different. The game is different. The three-point shot's the equalizer. Can you say that UCF got hosed as much as, as we get ready to take a break here? I don't know that I could say that they got hosed, because you got to put down that alley-oop, but that's a foul on Barrett. That's a foul on Barrett. And I know that, it's defined in the rule book, but it's subjectively enforced in a game on some level. You got to call that. I don't care if it's 0.8 of a second to go. If you tick a guy's arm and it impedes his path to the rim, it's a foul. Otherwise, why do we have a rule book? So people who say, "Well, swallow the whistle," I don't buy that. I never have.